Hello, welcome to the Future Podcast.
Hey guys.
How's it going? It's Tim and Luke here, and great to have you with us.
Pumped.
And great to have this podcast out there, and we love hearing your comments and what you have to say to us.
Yeah, thanks so much for all the people commenting. Appreciate it. It's so helpful for the feedback.
It is an interesting comment. So yeah, I love it. And I've had friends and family listen, and it's been very encouraging. So thanks for joining us today. So today we're going to be talking about high tech leads to high touch.
Yeah, definitely a subject that a lot of people have been asking us about. And I know in my conversations, like when people talk about this church plant, they really are interested in the way that we're using technology and the digital rollout and what have you. So yeah, I'm super excited to talk about this subject.
Great. Yeah. Well, let's start with the name. So I guess that's very specific language. High tech leads to high touch, not high tech and high touch, or they're not the same thing. So this other word of hybrid church being online and in person, this is being thrown out a lot. A lot of us have been forced online due to the pandemic and stuff. We've been trying a bunch of different things. So I guess my question to you, Pastor Luke, is
Reverend Luke. I usually go by
whatever you like. Is the future of the church hybrid, or is that how we're going to be trying to do church?
Yeah, hybrid. So I think when we hit that word hybrid, I'm not sure what everyone means by it, but like I often hear this, like digital and in person sort of like together. Sundays is going to be half digital, half in person, like half catering to the crowd who's not coming to church in person, and then half to the people in the room. I guess for us, I just really personally don't see that as the future. I think that digital has a whole set of incredible strengths, and then in person has a whole bunch of just unbelievable experiences that cannot be had in digital. It's just they're different, both awesome but very different, and trying to make them into one experience, I feel like is just B-grading everything. And so what we would rather do is make an A-grade digital experience and an A-grade in-person experience, and not try to make them overlap and compete with each other.
Okay, yeah. So I think I've heard you say it like putting the camera in the service. So it's like blocking the view of the pastor, and you're like trying to look around the camera, and it's like, okay, we're just trying to do both, but not doing one really well.
Right. I think probably live streaming is like where we needed to be for a lot of churches during the pandemic, but it's really probably the lowest form of the digital potential. It's really step one. Like if that's what we have to work with, then great. I'm not down on it. It's just like if that's step one, but that's not the future of digital. It's live streaming a church service. Yeah. It's really like creating a B-grade experience of being in the room. Like you can't have the real thing, so here's a B-grade version. That's not the future of digital, because there's so many other things that are way better in digital that I'd rather give you if you're going to be digital.
I love that. Okay, I think we're going to maybe a little bit later unpack what those better things are in digital. I really want to talk about that as well. But first, I guess so maybe we're just going to make a great in-person experience.
I hope that's not too controversial. I don't want it to be. I don't mean it to be like down on anything.
Sure.
We're just talking about what we see as the future.
Yes.
And
I guess the way I've seen it is that, technology is new to some of us and new to this generation, especially in the time of humanity. And we're all just figuring it out.
Sure.
And I think people are trying different things, and some things are working, and we've tried a bunch of different things. And I think
so many things.
I think it's better to try stuff than to not, and to like experiment, but then to adjust and say, okay, is this working? Is this building the church? Is this building people? Isn't it? So
I guess coming back to that name, talk to us about that, Tim, because obviously you and Cusway feel very strongly about community. So many on our launch team have this real gift of community, and so we called the chapter of this book High Tech Leads to High Touch, meaning community, like actual interaction with real people, coming into a real community. Why is that important? Why isn't it just these two things are just like working in tandem, or they're a balance, or they're both happening? Why is it that one is subservient to the other, or one leads to or must lead to the other?
Right. Yeah. Well, I love the quote about like money. Like money is a a wonderful tool, but a terrible master. And I think the same thing just applies to technology and apps or whatever. Pick your poison. And I think in some ways, I've let technology become the master before. And it doesn't, for me, Facebook hasn't made my friendships with people better.
Really?
Like, I know that's probably against their
I thought you
their
got more
slogan.
friends on Facebook now. Like, you have like 2,000 friends.
I have way
you must
more.
be really popular.
Must be. I don't know how many of those people have muted me, but that's all right.
A few, I think.
Thick skin.
Recently.
So I think we got to know how to use technology as a tool, as a means to an end, rather than like the end. And I think the end, the goal is always community. Is to be in community, because that's what the church is, which we've talked about in the past.
I love even that what Matt, I don't know how we say his last name. I think it's Mullerweg. He created WordPress.
Okay.
And he often talks about how technology is best when it brings people together. And I think that is definitely the goal of what you're saying, right? If technology brings us together into community, it's working well. If it isolates us, it's really doing the opposite of what our purpose is as the church.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So I think so you just said it. That's one of the strong points of technology, is being able to connect very surface level and invite so many people into community.
Right.
And I think that's the way we could really utilize technology to meet way more people than we would be able to meet if we walk down the street and said hello.
Totally.
So that's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
And obviously we've used that as well a lot in our pastoring time.
Yeah, but it can't end there, hey?
Yes, but then at some point that connection needs to develop into a real human relationship. And that I've struggled to build relationships online.
Right.
Personally. All my best friends I've built through meeting in person. And it may have started online, but it ended in real connection in the flesh, I guess.
Hopefully they didn't all end.
No.
I'm just joking. I've been meeting a bunch of people recently who had like found their like spouses online. It's pretty cool.
Wow. Different time. That's good.
Which is awesome. I think like a third of Americans, like they're saying a third of the new relationships are all online.
Wow.
So, but that's a great example of high tech leading to high touch. Like literally high touch, like getting married, like it started online, but it's going to end up in a home together.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And I think for us as the church, like that's the way we see digital, is it starts somewhere and it ends up in community, or it must. Otherwise, to me, it's not really a point in doing that, unless we're getting into real community.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about it, but so much of like discipleship or growing in your relationship with Jesus or learning about God, that happens in community.
Yeah.
And I can listen to the very best preachers online. You know, you can have access to anybody in the world, which is crazy. But I love listening to my pastor in my church have a word from God that's like local. There's something powerful about sitting in a room and hearing and interacting with those people that actually know who I am and we know who they are. And that's still so important.
Cool.
So
let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of digital and how we can use digital to build the church, to build community, to lead towards community.
Oh, great. Yeah. So there's a bunch of different ways, but I guess, one of the best things we've already talked about is it is an outreach tool.
Yeah.
So like a way to meet. There's a bunch of different apps where there are already communities online where you can build things, and we've used different technologies and apps like something like Meetup.
Which is a website for communities.
And we have our own communities on there as a church. We've used that in Japan and made a bunch of different groups. We had language groups, we had photography groups, we've had hiking groups.
Yeah, we have some of the biggest groups in Japan. Were our church groups.
Yes, yeah. It's crazy. Thousands and thousands of people.
Which is kind of crazy.
And
yeah,
we saw people come through those groups every single Sunday.
Yeah,
I say
same.
In Corbe, we saw 5 to 10 people, new people, never been to church, come and visit our church just through those one touch online. And that became, many of them became real friends.
Yep.
Which is pretty amazing. So yeah, I think that's probably a big one.
definitely. And digital gives people a chance to, like when you're doing outreach, people always check you out before they come, right? They're going to have a look at your Instagram, your, all your handles, and they're trying to do a mental check for like, are these guys weirdos? No, they're not weirdos. Check. Is there people who kind of reflect me in that community? That's why we're trying to show community on through digital. We're trying to display community.
Yeah.
It's not community. It's not real community. We're trying to display real community and show real community so people can say, yes, that's something I would want to be a part of. And people are doing just like mental checks in their mind to say, yeah, that could be my crew. So that really helps.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's one amazing tool is outreach.
Yeah.
I think another amazing tool where it's really useful is just it's a place where you can communicate more than you can on a Sunday.
Right.
So like on a Sunday you can, I probably don't want to sit and listen to an hour-long message.
What about 3 hours?
3 hours might be right.
Yeah.
If it's good. That'd be pretty rough. It would be pretty rough. So I think I love, I guess for Sundays, we want our Sundays to be for new people, for building communities, of course to preach the word of God and the message of Jesus, but there's definitely a focus. And then maybe you could use online, use our app to go a little bit deeper and listen to a little bit longer series that goes a little bit deeper.
Like if you look at all the best podcasts in the world, they're all super long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Rogan, 16 million downloads, whatever it is per episode. It's all long form. It's all like 3 hour, conversations. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if anyone's listening that asks for 3 hours, to be fair.
You got to be pretty good.
But all of the best ones it's made for, the medium is made for long form. Digital is made for long form, to be well. It's either really short form, so you've got your TikTok, you've got your Instagram Reels, or you've got your really long form, which is like podcast, video podcast, all of that sort of stuff. That's really exciting, and I feel like it's way underutilized because once again, we're trying to do this meshing of these worlds thing where we say, let's just take the message from Sunday and put it on podcast. That's our podcast.
Yep.
Which is fine. That's step one, guys. If we want to start there, awesome. But that's not really what the medium was made for. The medium was made for what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And that is tailored conversations and discussions, digging into things. It's kind of like what you would like to do with your friends, sitting around the barbecue, or the fire pit, like just talking stuff out for a couple of hours. That's what you would like to do. And then if you find some people that reflect, some of those same thinking, then it's really helpful to sit around and, while you're driving your car or you're cleaning the house or whatever you're doing, jumping into a conversation where you feel like, I want to learn something about this. I want to sort of go deeper in this subject. So instead of doing a Sunday message, how about we do a follow-up to the Sunday message and go a little deeper about what we talked about on Sunday?
Yeah.
Maybe get some of the backstory, get some of the questions that we heard from people that we got through the app, through the feedback we got through our app, take some of those questions, some of the live polling that we're doing during messages through the app, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
Get some of those questions and dive deeper into them during a weekly podcast. That could help small groups. That could help just people with questions in the message. Just go a little bit deeper, and so then on Sunday we can keep that shorter. Get to the point. Like I think if you can't preach it in 20 minutes, probably you're not clear enough.
Yeah.
As our personal philosophy around the preaching.
Sure.
20, 25 minutes. If you can't say it, it needs to be clearer. And then you can go deeper. 100%. Do an hour, do 2 hours, but do it in a different format, which is actually set up for the win for that time, which is digital.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think, so there's nothing against like someone preaching 3 hours, and there probably are churches like that where
you got to be good though.
Some people love it, but
if you're good enough to preach for an hour, you're a good preacher.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got a gift in preaching.
Yes, and Don't be too hard on yourself, though, Luke. But I think you can.
Well,
you can do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just more of a philosophy thing,
But I love
and
it.
a modeling thing.
Yes.
I don't necessarily, even if I could preach for an hour and people would listen, I don't think I would,
Right. Yeah.
because I'm trying to train the next generation of preachers, and I just don't want that as the model, because not everyone can do that. In fact, most people shouldn't do it because they won't hold people for an hour.
Yeah, and I love what you said. If you can say it in 20 minutes, then it's nice and clear, and people have a take home. Okay, this is how I can apply this to my life. But yeah, I love that, and that's how we want to use our app.
Right.
Exactly for that slowly we're building content. There's already content there.
Yeah.
And you can be like, oh, I'm thinking about this thing, or I have this question in the Old Testament, or this, and then you can look it up and have time, when you're driving, washing the dishes, to like listen through these topics and really educate yourself.
Dude, we were talking to the app developers yesterday and talking about how we can like make the app experience, like making courses on the app, free courses for people, but making them super interactive in that you can basically go through and ask questions at different points of the course, and having different reactions and talking to your pastor basically as you're doing a course. Like just like asking for feedback, interactive, like almost like a cohort of people who are learning together.
Yeah.
Like
nice.
you've seen that online. People get together for a month and they just they're like learning together and like doing a super upskill. Like I think there's so many applications for that could be done better. Growth Track. I mean, Growth Track, if you know, basically onboarding to church, community and serving, it's just going to look totally different on an app experience.
Yeah.
Like just because one of the hardest things with Growth Track is the fact that people, there's like, what do you call it? Friction at every step.
Sure.
Meaning people drop through the cracks at every step.
Yeah.
But with an app experience, it's so frictionless with a swipe. You know, all of the, you know, your personality, your gifting assessment, whatever it is, it's all in the app. It's just right there. You don't even have to move anywhere to swipe through it so easily and so cleanly. It's like it gets rid of that resistance.
Sure.
And what we were finding was that when someone completes that course, basically 50% of those people end up serving in church.
Yeah, wow.
It was like something crazy like that. So if we can help that process, I think that's for the win, man. Digital for the win in certain areas.
Yes, a little caveat. Yeah, no, I love it. And I love it all being on the app and just making it as easy as possible for people. And yeah, and in our app, you don't even have to sign up. You can preview as a guest.
Yeah.
That's a barrier for people. I could put my email list in. You can just jump on the app and you can still ask for prayer and stuff. And
the prayer stuff is good on the app.
yes, love it. Yeah, we were playing around with it yesterday.
Dude, it's so good.
It's pretty cool. So you can put a little prayer request in, and then anybody can then go through all those prayer requests that people have. They can be anonymous or with your name, and then you just hold the little button down for like 5 seconds as you pray for them, and your phone vibrates and it sends them.
Yeah.
I prayed for you. So
Like I've got it here on my phone right now, just a little preview. I don't know if you can see that. But basically, there's this prayer function here. You can take somebody's prayer request, and then I think I already prayed for everyone, so it's not. Oh, there's one. There's a new prayer. My friend to be open to Jesus. Cool. So there's like two hands like together, like a praying thing, and you just hold it down for 10 seconds, and there's like love hearts that go up. And when you get to the end of that 10 seconds, it sends that person a notification that Luke just prayed for you. So if we've got like say 100 people on this app and people are praying for each other, I think you're going to be turning notifications off because you're going to have so many people. Imagine you're going through, my mum was having an operation this week. You just get 100 people, 100 notifications. Tim's praying for you. Kazu's praying for you. Zumi's praying for you. All these people. I mean, it's awesome. I love that. And then next time I see you, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to ask you, how's your mum, man?
Yeah.
Like, can I pray for you right now?
Yeah.
I just love how that digital's leading towards real relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not another to-do list, but it's like helping us pray more. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then that's like a little prayer list. I know some people, whatever your feelings are on prayer lists, I think if you're going to pray more, that's probably a good thing. Especially if you're praying for people. That's pretty encouraging.
Definitely.
I feel like it's less than 10 seconds. So
It may be. Yeah.
Jump on there. So yeah, we love that. So the app is super exciting. and another great tool that's going to help us just connect with our church. And the point is to build community and build people's lives.
Yeah. One of the things people have been asking me about is what we're trying to do with media and some of the technology that we're looking at with media. This is pretty exciting. I don't have, we got to keep this moving, so I'm not going to go into it really deeply. But basically, technology is advancing so fast. Like my wife and I have had a film company for the last 7-8 years or something like that. And we are looking at just taking that to a whole another level in Australia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And really bringing some cutting edge technology that Australia doesn't really have yet. I mean, it's brand new technology that is going to basically be a game changer of how we make films in the world. It's basically going to take Hollywood level set design and set creation and world creation and put it in the hands of any 13-year-old who wants to learn a program for free. And we're going to build the infrastructure in studios to make that happen. Basically a hub for creators to create incredibly high-level content that is going to be just, it's so exciting. It's a game changer. It's one of those disruptions to the film world that is just such a game changer that it's going to disrupt things in a huge way. So we're excited to bring that into the church and how we tell stories digitally.
Yeah.
It's really one of my passions in life is storytelling. I love this.
Yeah.
And just the story of Jesus is the greatest story ever told. Like the Bible is incredible. Totally. So I'm just so excited about telling some of the most amazing Bible stories in history and historical stories about the church and getting people more rooted in their faith.
Yeah.
As well as lots of content for people who don't know Jesus.
I love that because there's been so much cheesy stuff, which I'm thankful that people are having a go.
It's a little bit of a cringe,
but
sure, some of the Christian media.
I definitely want to see. Yeah, there's so many great Christians.
Not that we're awesome.
That's true.
No.
You're gonna be
we got heaps to go.
You're probably cringing at this podcast right now.
Probably are.
But to at least start something. And I mean, there's some great stuff. Like we were saying, like we love The Chosen.
The Chosen
which is
probably the first thing I think that's really taken a massive leap forward that I've seen.
Yeah,
that is as
quality.
Good as anything.
Yeah.
And I think that this new technology we're talking about puts that kind of level of production in the hands of teenagers.
Right, makes it affordable.
Well, it's not. It's going to be expensive for us, but it's going to be very cheap for anyone else who wants to use it.
That's it.
That's really what we're trying to get to is get the best young creators who want to tell stories for God and get them together and teach them how to build incredible story making ability for very little resource. It's just a matter of time. Potential.
Pumped. All right.
So pumped.
Well, before we go too deep down that tangent, even though it's super exciting, I think people are really keen to know more about that as well. But let's just talk about our digital rollout, like where this all came from. For our church, we've kind of been forced onto that track a little bit in some ways.
Yeah.
For the way that we are starting and planning this church in Brisbane. And could we just talk a little about, because we're talking about how high tech leads to high touch, and that is like really the process we're on. You're listening to us on this podcast, and you may have not met us yet.
We'd love to meet you.
So could you walk us through our thought process of our rollout? And
I don't know your thought process, Tim, but you're a man of mystery. I'm joking. I guess like even if we were in Australia at the time when we started this church, we still would have done the same process.
Right.
Because I guess it's more of a philosophy of digital leading to community rather than let's build a church in a classic way and then let's add digital later.
Right.
That's not really the way that we think. We think digital, and then the digital will lead to the community, and the community is the end goal. Okay, and then so that the digital is the doorway into the community. Right. So, so we are starting with a podcast. What else we got? We got the app.
Yep.
And we've also got a book release happening, hopefully in April. Is the plan. It's in the final edits of the book release, and a lot of that stuff is this. But this podcast is built on the chapters of that book.
Yeah.
So that book goes a little deeper into things, which I'm pretty excited about. It's going to be a book to really help our team understand our roots and where we're heading.
Interest meetings, things online.
Yeah. So we're doing Zoom interest calls with people. Every month, every couple of weeks. And that's been awesome. Like, we've met so many great people, getting people involved already. The launch team is incredible.
Pretty exciting,
Like this, we're just so blessed by the quality of incredible people that God is bringing into our lives right now. And then once we land in Oz, we'll start doing in person. So like community building with the launch team, and also what we call interest socials, which are basically, our launch team bringing people into community. So our goal is to have community really strong first, and then do services.
Yes.
Because the services don't, like, we've got to rethink Sundays, I think, definitely. Because I think classic Sundays are not set up to build community.
Sure.
So we want to prioritize community first, and then add some of those elements, like your larger worship and your larger kids experiences and all that stuff, which is awesome. We love that. We come from production backgrounds. We love that. But build community first, so that when we have church, we actually have something to bring people into.
Yeah, I love it.
Rather than like people coming into the church brand or the church vision. People don't get connected to the church vision. You know that, right? People get connected to people.
They love the name. They're just getting connected to the name.
Like, no one's coming to our church because of the name, man, or the branding.
Yeah.
I mean, they may check like a list of like, oh, okay, it's like suitable. It's like it's in the possible bracket. But no one's coming because of our branding.
Yeah.
They're coming because of the people. Yeah. Someone invited them, and then they're staying because of community. And along that process, they're going to meet Jesus and have their lives change forever, and then become part of bringing other people into that community. So,
yeah, I love it. So high tech leads to high touch. The goal is community. It is hanging out. It is growing together. It is maturing with amazing people and overcoming and praying and
totally, man.
And I think for me, that's what life is all about. Is hanging out and
relationships,
and relationships.
And anything that doesn't lead to that, I feel like it should be on the chopping block.
That's a good point.
If anything we're doing, programs, technologies, outreaches, anything is not leading towards healthy community, why are we doing it?
Love that. And that's the blessing of starting something new, is we can kind of reimagine and reinvent things. But I guess we need to also keep that heart as we go through the process, and as things get bigger and as technology changes.
Sure.
And in 10 years, things look a little different. And saying, okay, what is leading to a community? What is leading to building people in the church, and what isn't?
Yeah.
And now is just another great time to have a fresh look.
Definitely. So quickly, before we finish, like we talked about how important community is, and we have a whole podcast on community coming. But something that is great in person that is not good, that doesn't work digitally. What are those things that are just like, that are just way better in person?
Talk about the Sunday service kind of experience, or
I guess I really don't think about Sunday service as a community. I think it's us together. It's us, our time together. It's there's so many formats for it. Part of it is Sunday, but we've got to rethink about Sunday to make it, to set it up for a win in that. But there's many things that when we meet together, when you and I are sitting here together, there's a lot of things that work so much better than they do in person. One of those things is definitely modeling.
Sure.
Like you if I want to learn, like you're a tall guy, you could have been a model. He was about 7 foot tall. He was going to be in the NBA, but
people in Japan,
it's not American.
When I lived in Japan, just like, oh, Godzilla, throw tomatoes at me.
So if you want to learn how to have a good marriage,
yeah,
you can read a book. 100%. Great,
true.
you should read a book. But if you really want to have a good marriage, you better hang around some people who have a good marriage, and you will learn. You will see. And just your brain will just pick up maybe 100 things that you don't even realize that your brain is picking up, but it will internalize. That's the tone of voice that you use. That's the tone of voice you don't use to get that response. There's so many human things that you cannot get through a screen. You've got to feel it sitting across the table from a person that you get intuitively by being around other people. Encouragement, a pat on the back from somebody, an appropriate touch, someone looking at you in the eyes and speaking into your heart. Some things like that are just so valuable. We just cannot be a community on mission without some of that, some of those factors.
Yeah, I think in a similar vein, but I just think leadership, like you can read 100 leadership books, still be a terrible leader. I've seen it. And vice versa. You can never read a leadership book but be an incredible leader because you've had it modeled and seen it.
Right.
And I think that's a huge one. I think one for me that I think is just amazing in community is worship. And just that whole, definitely by myself, there's a time to pray. And we've got a podcast on that, like time alone with God as well. But also that time in that community, worshiping God with 2 or more are gathered in my name, I am there amongst them. And just that whole experience, we were forced online for a long time. In our situation for online church, but just when we could get together and worship together, I was like, oh, that was really valuable. Just
100%.
Communal time. I think there's just something about being together and singing and lifting up God.
Right. Have you ever stood next to somebody when you don't feel like worshiping? You may be having a hard moment, but their passion actually just starts rubbing off on you, and you just like, okay. And it's almost like they get you in the door, and then you start worshiping, and then you start feeling differently. And without that person even realizing that they've helped you, they've actually helped you.
Yeah, definitely. That's the power of community. That's like 100 different things. That's like walking through the doors and that one little encouragement. You're having a bad day and just that guy on the door that says, hey, mate, how's it going? Welcome to church. Like that real simple just interaction. Yeah. Even that can just lift your spirits and change something. Be like, oh, wow, what am I down in the dumps for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we underestimate how community focused that ancient Near East was, where the Bible was written in that context.
Yes.
How community focused it was and how individual focused we are.
Right.
Like it's such an incredibly different culture. So the Bible was written with everyone understands this. It was written to a culture, like culture is what's normal. And the normal was, oh no, we do community.
Yeah.
We share everything. Yeah. Like we're in each other's homes. We love each other. We're like, whatever we're doing, it's together. If we're going to fight, we're going to fight together. If we're going to be oppressed, we're going to be oppressed together.
If we're getting baptized, the whole house as a whole is getting baptized.
Wow. But that's in the Bible.
Yeah.
So a lot of interesting things like that in the Bible where it's very community focused. And I think I'm really excited, man, to see the church in the future coming back to some of these concepts. I hear so many people talking about it. Even from the recent podcast that we did, some people said like the concept that we kept, the word community just kept on coming out and it was like really resonating with people. And just so thankful for that.
That's it. So, yep, high tech leads to high touch. So all roads lead to community and I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Please, once again, you can download the app, jump into our kind of online community.
It's on now.
And it's all up. And then we would love to hear from you.
And courses are coming in April.
Awesome. Super exciting. What's the first one?
So the first course is going to be how to read the Old Testament.
Sounds like a nice, simple one just to start.
Yeah, it's going to basically really help you through some of those difficult things in the Old Testament and set you up for a win. So I'm pretty excited about it.
I've definitely had friends that have had questions or been like, usually they point to verses in the Old Testament, be like, why does the Bible say this? And I think to have tools on how to answer some of those questions, those hard but important questions that we've probably all asked ourselves, will be really helpful.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks guys. Appreciate your time. Leave us a comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.
Yeah.